of energy that crisscross across the land. But they all apparently emanated from this one spot, in this Temple of the Sun. And apparently, as well with the idea of ley lines where they crisscrossed, there was supposed to be these, it created this problematic energy that kind of disrupted this physical plane, so they would have to go to these sites where they knew where these lines of energy crisscrossed and perform some special rituals to kind of control the energy that was, getting messed up there because of the crisscross of the lines. So it says specifically these 41 keke lines that fed into the center of the Temple of the Sun from every corner of the Incan Empire converged upon this golden sun disk they had. So, and just to go back into Incan culture for a little bit, they had this, like, I don't know if you know this, Melissa, too, from your research and different stuff, but they had this really complex view, and I think it was a really profound view of the universe, where everything in the universe was seen as a conscious filament of energy in this interconnected, unescapable three-dimensional web.
Yeah,
it was really like fascinating. They had this idea back millions of years. Yeah,
and
that's just oneness.
The best person to explain what that is would be the electric universe theory. Wallace Thornhill.
Right.
He goes into it from a scientific point of view. He's a physicist, but he's literally explaining the Inca view of how the universe works in this kind of web with all the filaments and how it's electrically all connected.
Oh, interesting.
And and he does weave mythology into that to show that the ancients had this connection to what that is. But he's able to prove it with science, which is really interesting. And what I love about, I didn't know that about the mask, is that it's basically kind of saying two things, that the idea of gold is connected to the power of the sun, but it's like the veins of the earth are filled with this golden light, right? Just like the veins of your body are filled with electromagnetic energy.
Yeah. So they had this like magical spiritual belief in it as well. It wasn't just a pretty shiny metal. So anyway, just he describes this interconnected, these filaments as like you were kind of explaining there, just like blood flowing in veins and the nervous system sending electrical information to computational centers at key locations within the human body. The cosmic web flowed with information, data, energy, and influence, connecting ourselves with all other things, including animals, plants, trees, rivers, the wind, other people, and the stars. So everything is just kind of connected to this stuff.
That's
so
really, really cool.
Back to the sun disk. Yeah.
So like the conscious web.
Everything was
like the conscious.
It's like the Matrix,
The Matrix, if you will, but not so dark.
Yeah.
Very bright.
It's just interesting that people through time have different metaphors and words to describe the same thing that we're still talking about today. That's just really, really cool. That was an interesting connection.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
So this sun disk. I said all these keke lines, the ley lines, all came to this one center in the Temple of the Sun. But specifically, they all went to the sun disk. And here's a little bit about the sun disk. Reported to have been about 6 or 7 feet in diameter, and it was said to be forged from a rare translucent gold.
Ooh.
I don't know what that is. Which originated in the heavens and was given to the Incan people as a gift from their creator god, Viracocha. And he was this very interesting character, and again with these god myths, we see this again and again coming up. We hear this, the gods coming to teach civilizations about governance and architecture and science and agriculture, all that sort of stuff. But the sun disk was believed to have the power to heal all ailments, and it could cause earthquakes. So I guess it could be used as a weapon as well, which is interesting. And it was used by the highest-ranking shamans as a spiritual portal for traveling to the most divine levels of the universe. I thought that was interesting too.
Yeah, that's dope.
Wow.
So it had all these magical powers as well.
A fact about Viracocha. So Viracocha is always pictured with a beard,
Yeah.
A lot of the Incan people, they don't have facial hair. Very few. Like a very like white man looking, like tall white guy with a beard.
Right.
He's supposedly also, with some scholars, linked to Enki in the Anunnaki world that we were just talking about, and when Josh was talking. That like maybe they're the same person, that he left the Middle East, he came over to South America to kind of start a new civilization with humans, and came there to teach them about civilization, that kind of thing. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny connection.
Yeah, I did read that a bunch of times, and then there was that belief, because there is his myth of Viracocha traveling the globe to teach early human civilizations about how to be people and put pants on and stuff.
Why? I don't want to wear pants.
He's going to talk to my son.
Not just shirts, people. You can't just go around Donald Ducking it all day. So yeah, one of the things that an argument against that was saying that was actually the Spanish conquistadors, the invaders who came in, basically made their god in their own light and gave them this like white man with a beard.
Although agreed, I mean that is the idea that like white people came in, they're like, there's no way, it has to be a white person, right? But there's in the Valley of the Incas, there's literally a face of Viracocha carved into the side of the mountain, and that was done thousands of years ago, before any conquistadors came there, and he is pictured with a beard. So I'm not saying that he's a white guy. I'm just saying that he just looks different than they do. That's all.
He was just different. Yeah. I also did find there was reference to some mummies that were found that had like red and blonde hair that the Peruvians referred to as the Viracocha, which I guess means gods as well, not just singular but plural as well. So anyway, I don't know. Yeah.
Giants.
Well, yes, we do get to that too. So, okay, so let me get to this. So, let me just burp up some of these lashings here. Excuse me. G'day, darling. How are you? So,
well, I don't know what just happened, but I feel charmed.
Is that how you pick up chicks in Australia? You just burp at them?
Oh, they love it. Yeah. No, it's just a basic greeting over here. Yeah.
Okay.
So, how's your usage of the word cunt? Has it skyrocketed like 700% since you've been in Australia?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they teach it in schools over here. Yeah. My kids were a little off-put to begin with, but...
they acted quick.
You get used to it. Yeah, you get used to it. Yeah. It's a term of endearment over here, too. Only good friends get referred to as that. So, 7! The number 7, guys.
Yeah.
It seems to be a magical number again, and this kind of pops up a lot as well in many different religions and beliefs. But the shamanic priest who controlled the Keke lions as they entered the Temple of the Sun, there were 7 of them, and apparently their Incan shamanic ritual system was structured upon 7 levels of initiation as well, before the students learned the magical knowledge required to control the energy flows of the Keke lions. So anyway, this disc, once the Incans saw that the Spanish were coming invading into their territory, they immediately pick up the disc and hid it, and it still can't be found. Apparently they tried to hide it in a mountain somewhere around the area where these horse-riding Spanish invaders couldn't get to. But I guess still can't find it. They're really good at hide and seek, these guys.
So they were hiding a golden disc. It just hit me, like everything's a golden disc. Is that a metaphor for a UFO? Like, is that the god's vehicle? Is that what? Is that?
Yeah, there's people who. Absolutely. There's people who make that connection. A lot of those ancient alien shows, I guess that's referred to again and again.
Yeah.
But the disc seems to be a pretty popular shape as well in many, many different cultures.
Because they saw aliens.
Did apparently come from the sky.
Yeah.
It did come down from the sky, apparently.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's from the idea that it came from like a asteroid meteor, right? That's what they probably meant by that. I don't think somebody like hand delivered it in a spaceship. But you're right, Josh. There's a lot of ancient cultures that have the disc, like the Aten disc in Egypt, where they were worshipping the sun disc or whatever. Also from Ra, but I don't personally. I don't believe it's because it's a UFO. I think it's something much more metaphysical. Like the idea of the disc is something that they could use in a ceremony more than like a gold square, right? It's like
yes.
When you see carvings and stuff like that, like with the vortex and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I don't necessarily think it's a representation of UFO.
You might not be wrong. I just want to. It's just funny how we'll look in the past and there'll be cave art and there'll be an antelope and we're all like, look, an antelope. They'll be like them doing a ceremony of building a building. Look, they're drawing a building. But then they'll draw a UFO and an alien face, and we're all like, "Oh, that's not an alien or a UFO. That's some sort of metaphor they're making there." I just think it's fucking ridiculous. It's a silver disc. Like, why were they making discs? We see discs in the sky, and the gold's connected to aliens. It all makes sense. But fine, I'm the crazy person who believes in Bigfoot. I get it. Fine.
and then there's like a cave pictograph of like butt probing just right next to it.
Right. No, it's just a metaphor for I don't know. Yeah. Birthing or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Ear swabs. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. I mean, it is like a symbol of the sun too, like the whole gold thing. So it could just be that. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But anyway, the last few things on this Viracocha character.
Yeah.
Just again, this stories that seem to line up constantly, involving these deities that come down. Well, actually, so Viracocha was said. Viracocha. What did I say?
Viracocha.
Viracocha. So he apparently rose from the ocean or a lake to create man after he created the sun and the moon. Very much like the Christian God, I guess. But it was said, there's a couple of interesting things here. So he said his first crack at creating humans was apparently he created these big knuckle-headed giants that were just a bunch of dum-dums. So he drowned them in a flood. No big deal.
Wow.
The flood myth, man, it's everywhere.
Dummies. Yeah, so there's that flood myth again that pops up over and over again. And then he had another shot at it, and he made better humans then, so us that weren't fucking dildos. And then he taught them the ways of the civilizations. So he taught them, about governance and cultures and all that sort of stuff. But then it says he left by walking across the ocean to bring his wisdom to other cultures. So again, that story of this being coming down and not just teaching one culture, but traveling across the planet to teach other cultures, all different stuff.
Yeah, that's seen over and over again, especially in the work of Graham Hancock and his whole theory of the asteroid hitting, and then these light bringers from a previous civilization. Well, he thinks it's from a different civilization, but this could be alien or God, going around the planet and helping after the flood to get people back on their feet.
It could be, yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, they described him like we were talking before as this bearded white man.
Yep.
It could very well be that it was from some ancient civilization that still had this technology that were able to kind of
they would seem like gods.
This new race of people. Yeah.
Just to go back
very
to
ancient aliens kind of stuff.
Just go back to Enki. He had the same thing. He came from the water. He had all these temples in Egypt and throughout the Middle East where Sumerian temples had a water tank in it, and it was for the god Enki. So there's a lot of similarities between, again, Enki and this idea that he came from the water and that he has to be in the water. All the temples have a specific tank of water for Enki. The same thing with Viracocha. So I don't know. Just they seem to have this similarity. Like this, maybe this is the same person that was traveling back and forth.
Yeah.
And just happened to be part of gold mining at the same time. What?
We really need to explore the waters. Fuck space. Let's go into the water.
Yeah.
Explore that.
Right.
I'm sure that's where we're going to find shit.
Yeah, man.
For sure.
I agree.
For sure.
I 100% agree. Well, I think that I know this is it's not like our typical UFO Bigfoot thing. I know Josh really tried to turn that into that, but we steered it the other way. into something very educational. But the idea of gold.